It's 60 RPM. So let's do like, we're gonna crank. We're gonna crank at like 200 RPM. So ready, set RPM at 250 cranking. So this is the starter going. And then it's gonna fire at 700 RPM. Here we go. Now it's running at 700 RPM. So that would be about idle speed. Okay, so a little bit more work on the ECU. So you saw that I built the harness for the computer side, but now I'm building the harness for the vehicle side. So kind of like I described, I have two connectors, a black one and a white one. So I have here's my black one that I'm working on, and then here's the same connector. I just spray painted it white, is I figure good enough for me. But then if you look on this side of the connector, you see it says 1 right here, then it says 4, then it says 8, and then it says 12. It says 12 right there, and then you see 14, 11. So basically it's telling you the pin numbers, which, you know, a 1 plugs into a 1, a 2 plugs into a 2. So all you really need to know is pins 1 through 14 on this connector, and then pins 1 through 14 on that connector. So I actually have I saved this harness. This is the harness off of a Ford Explorer, the same truck that I got these heads off of. These are gonna go on the Mustang. There they are, the GT40P heads that I pulled off the Explorer. I think that was a 2000. So I just kind of saved it, and I've been using it for the wire colors. So here's my cheat sheet. I've got just basically, here's a picture of the board, and then I've got pin 1 through 14, and then describing what they do, and then I'm gonna continue that on the black connector, which I haven't started it yet, but it's gonna be the same thing. And there's the black connector, which is gonna be the things along the bottom. So let me get that done. But you can see that I've got my back shell, and you can see that there's a threaded male thread, and then this part has a female thread. And if I can do this one-handed, you just thread the two pieces together, and then there's like a strap. It's like a strap with 2 screws that then this adds some strain relief, so you're not flexing and bending the crimp joints, and it stays nice and secure and stable, and won't have to worry about it breaking. Okay, so I got just the pigtails done, you know. So I've got the white connector and the black connector, and if you see, I'll loosen the collar. So you see here's kind of the back shell I was describing to you. It just has a strap that you screw, and it holds the wires nice and tight, so they're not, you know, flexing around or anything like that. But you see here's the male pins, and you see how, you know, they're not protruding above the face of the connector, so they won't get damaged. And then there's the female sockets that the same thing applies. And then if you look on the connector, there's various keys, various pieces of metal, but the widest one is the master key, and there it is there. That always goes on top. And then there you go. And then you kind of push and twist, and it'll lock in. And then if you check my wiring diagram, I've got it all kind of, there's the one we just did, black connector. We're not running a cam sensor on this car. It's gonna just be the old style batch fire setup, like the Ford system used. And that's actually what I pulled off. Here's the crank sensor harness. This came right off the Explorer, and I think it's a good idea to reuse this because you see it has a shield that's got 2 wires, and then it has this aluminum and also metal wire that actually I probably should, I think you tie that to ground. I'm pretty sure you tie that to ground, but we'll see if we have any issues. And then let me go grab the crank sensor. So here's the other end of the harness, and then here's the sensor itself. And this is the factory. Could be. Oh, it's just a little magnet. Okay, this is just the factory crank sensor off the truck. 2 pins, and then here's the balancer off that truck. And you see that this is our trigger setup. So this is a small block Ford externally balanced balancer. And you see from here to about here, where my thumb is pointing, that there is no weight. But then you see that big chunkin' weight there that they drilled holes to balance it, just like, you know, instead of adding weights to balance a car tire, they remove weight to balance out the balancer, you know. So this is an externally balanced. So what I could do to test it is I would have to somehow grab onto this and spin it. That's a magnet. That was something I was tinkering with before, but this is I think this is a 36-1 trigger wheel. So if you were to count these teeth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there would actually be 35. And then here's the missing one. So 360 degrees makes 1 full revolution. So that means that every tooth is 10 degrees. Every tooth is 10 degrees, and then where it misses, where it's missing the tooth, you see is lined up with the key. So I'm thinking that the tooth is top dead center cylinder 1, but we'll test that. But this basically just rides on the water pump cover, or is it the timing cover? I think it's the timing cover. There's no such thing as a water pump cover, but you see here's the timing mark. I should probably maybe sandblast this or wheel it up or something, or just buy a new one. It's probably pretty cheap now. But this basically just rides above these teeth as that spins. So that's our crank sensor setup. So let me do a little bit more testing with this, but that's basically it. You kind of see my plan. This is an intro video to basically just assembling the case and the harness for standalone fuel management for any car, but any car V8 or less, but gasoline, I guess. And then in my next video, I'm going to be maybe doing some testing. I can't really install it in the car because it's 5 feet of snow outside right now, but I can do some testing with my laptop and software, and you'll see what I have planned. Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've been thinking about it in like chunks of time that I never really sat down and wrote it out and figured it out. I want to do that because that's kind of the next point I'm at in the build of this custom ECU and the wiring harness. So I'm working on a V8 engine, so a Ford 302, a 5-liter push rod, and they had 2 different firing orders for that motor that I'm aware of. And one was the older, like the 60s and the 70s muscle car, you know, 302s, 289s, 351s. And then there was a second firing order for the 302, which I think came out around the 80s, or maybe it was the early 90s. They put the 302s in the Explorer, and they had 2 coil packs, each with 4 cylinders, and that's kind of Ford's version of batch fire, and that's basically exactly what I'm trying to do, is run a V8 in batch, which means that you have 4 ignition outputs, but you're using only 4 outputs to send signals to 8 cylinders, right? Because you have a V8. And that's what we have. We have, you see here, I have a channel, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 channel outputs, and those in the ECU fire sequentially. Channel 1 goes first, 2 goes next, 3, and then 4, and then it just loops again. Starts over at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over and over again is what it's doing in that order. So I wanted to figure out, you know, that doesn't mean that I wire it one to cylinder 1, 2 to cylinder 2, 3 to cylinder 3, 4 to cylinder 4. That's not what you would want to do. And that's kind of the point of the video, and how I figured this out. And this might be common knowledge, but I just wanted to sit down and figure it out for myself, and it seems to be working out. So cylinders on a Ford, any V8 I've ever worked on, a 302 and even the 4.6 liters, we'll use those two as an example. The cylinders are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. From looking at standing at the front of the engine. If you were standing at the front bumper, it would be on the passenger side is cylinders 1 through 4. Then the driver's side is 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 through 8. And the firing order of the motor is 1, 3, 7, 2, 6, 5, 4, 8. So what I did is you obviously you do start at 1. So this is the only instance where cylinder 1 and channel 1 are going to be wired together. Basically, the first and fifth firing event must be tied together. The second and sixth firing event must be tied together. Because you're receiving, the engine rotates two complete revolutions to complete all 4 cycles. So that's a total of 360 plus 360, which is 720 total degrees that you are distributing equally with 8 cylinders. So 720 divided by 8 is 90. So there is an ignition event every 90 degrees. Every 90 degrees of the crankshaft, a spark plug is being fired. So basically what I did was what I found the first firing order, the first cylinder in the firing order is 1. But then I know that's also equal to the fifth, right? Because it's going to start over at 5, basically. And the engine is just going to run through its firing order. It's going to go to one, you know, the first through 8th firing order sequentially. It's going to keep doing that pattern over and over and over again, right? So that's why I'm tying the first and fifth, second and sixth, third and seventh, fourth and 8th firing order events together. Which means that these are the actual cylinders that I have to tie together. So when I wire up my coil packs, the coil pack for cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 6, which is this one, so that would be this cylinder and then this cylinder. So I have to wire this coil pack and that coil pack together because those are going to fire together. Boom. Then so we'll go like this. Those are going to go. Then the next is going to be cylinder 3, which is tied to 5. So it's going to go 3 to 5. Then it's going to go 7 to 4. Then it's going to go 2 to 8. So these are the if you kind of were laying out your plug wires, that's how you would do it. Or the way I'm going to do it is if you had a double, let's say a coil pack that had 2 out, one like the Volkswagen ones I showed you, one trigger will fire 2 coils, and so you would wire those 2 coils to that channel output. So this would be channel 1, and then 3 and 5 would be channel 2, then 7 and 4, which would be channel 3. Then you would have to an H, which would be channel 4. So that's basically how I'm going to wire up my ignition coils. But I think I would also wire up my fuel injectors this exact same way. I think when it knows where cylinder number 1 is, it's going to fire the fuel for that cylinder 360 degrees before it fires the coil for that cylinder. I think I'm kind of rambling here, but I'm also just thinking this out, and this is kind of the key for a Ford V8 cylinder. You wire the spark plug wires or the ignition coils to these cylinders for channel 1, these cylinders for channel 2, these cylinders for channel 3, and those cylinders for channel 4. So next I think I'm going to do the actual wiring modifications, but I think I'm going to wait for some parts first. All right, back at the junkyard again. I like this place. I'm looking for some Chevy Silverados. I'm looking for GM V8. I'm looking for LS engines. I've looked at a lot of these already. I'm looking into the high 30, or in the row 36 and 31. So let's head there. I already looked at a few trucks, and I have a couple good candidates. I think I just found one is an 03 and one's an 06. The 06 doesn't have any plug wires, but the coil packs are all there. It's like somebody wanted a set of plug wires. So let's go back into the back of the junkyard here. Maybe they got the good stuff in the back. Maybe nobody's picked over it yet, but at least we have that one option. I'll show you. But what did we say? Row 30? I think we said row 30, next row, where that Jeep is. No campers here this time. Okay, keep your eyes peeled for an LS motor. Here's an old GMC. Oh, look at that. It's a Barbie doll on the... Nope. I think I see something. Geez, this wasn't it, was it? Yep. No motor here. 36. But we can keep our eyes peeled. Maybe there's like a Yukon or a Escalade or something. I only looked for Silverados, but they came in more than Silverados. Well, here's an old Mercury. What year? We don't know. Looks like a older pre-05. Train going by. Here's row 36. Here's something. What do we got here? What is this? 6-cylinder? What is this? That's only a 6-cylinder. Here's a 03. It's got what we need, but they've seen some miles. You know, I don't know. Coils look rusty. This one's an option, but I'm gonna keep looking. Here I see something in row 28. Thought I saw one. Hey, what's this? Easy access. Should we just grab these? Is this a little 4.8? They're all here. They look halfway decent. Where is this? Is this a little 4.8? Or is this a 5.3? What are we looking at here? This is an old Avalanche. Chevy Avalanche, 2003. 2003. I want to go back to that 06. Seems like 03 is our year for the coils, but got a lot of those here. I want to look at that 06 again, but I think it's the same damn part. Here's something. Looks like what we might want. It's got the coil packs, plug wires. All right, this guy is an option. Vortec. What motor is this? This one looks good. I wonder if I should grab it. This one is an option. What is this? What is this? It's a Yukon? What is this thing? No, it's a Suburban? What is this thing? 05 Tahoe. Is that what it just said? No. What the hell is this? Is this a Tahoe? 06 Tahoe. 06 Tahoe. Biohazard. I mean, she's seen it. Oh, 06. So what motor is this? It's got a broken one. Somebody was back here. The coil broke off right there. See? There's the boot. Crap. It's all right. I don't know. I'll keep looking. I'll keep looking. I'll keep this one in mind. 06 Tahoe. Somebody was already here. These ones got heat sinks on it. Yeah, I looked at this one already. I don't know, I kind of like that other one better. Plug wires are ripped out of it. Another one. Here's a 03 Yukon. So I took the intake off of it. This is all picked over. Here's what do we got here? This is an older Crown Vic, 03. Nice. Somebody's taking pulleys or stuff. We got one of those motors at home, two of them actually. Another one. Here I see two trucks here. What do we got? We got a Z71. How's it look? This one looks all right. This one looks all right. What year is this guy? 03. 03. Everything is there. Everything is there. Maybe. What's this guy? This guy. Somebody's already been here. Somebody's already taken those. Yeah, somebody grabbed the coil packs already. And there was this one. I think this was the one I liked the best for some reason. Somebody did like a textured paint job on it or something. It's missing a coil pack. All right, this side was much harder. There's a, back there by the firewall, there's a bolt buried in there that I actually had to remove the last coil, but I think we're ready to come out now. Just gotta cut. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the harness side so I get this plug. Okay, I got it all laid out. So this is the driver's side, that's the passenger side. So, yeah, the one with the taped end, and then the one with the wires. Wires is passenger. So, do we know how many miles are on this truck? No, we don't. No, we don't. All right, so we got home with our 2 sets of coil packs here. She charged me 56 bucks and change. So I've seen these on eBay for like 120. And if you see, I grabbed this is basically the harness that would go to the vehicle ECU, you know. So I was interested in this connector as well. You know, I wanted both sides of that connector, and I grabbed them both, you know. So for 56 bucks, I get the brackets and just to use as a test, you know, to prove my theory. But I'm pretty sure we did pretty good here, and I scrubbed them down with degreaser and soapy water, and yeah, they look good. So the plan is to use these to test run this motor. This is a 4.6 liter. This is from a 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis. So it's got throttle by cable, which means it's got an idle air control valve. And it's got a throttle position sensor, which should be somewhere. Oh, throttle body's not on it. Throttle body's downstairs. But yeah, so basically I used this engine to mock up the supercharger, and the intake manifold isn't on there. I think I actually have paper towels and all the cylinder bores, but I gotta find the flex plate. I think I got the bolts, the crank bolts. Yeah, I do. I got the crank bolts, but now I gotta find the flex plate, and then I gotta make some kind of a bracket. I'm thinking of some kind of a bracket for the starter, so I could bolt the starter to some kind of a bracket that I probably would bolt onto these motor mounts or something. And just because I don't have, you know, Fords, you got to have a bell housing, and I don't have one of those for a 4.6, so we're gonna have to improvise. But yeah, that's the plan, because this engine, if you notice, it's got coils, but they're only 2 wires. This is a dumb coil, so I can't use these coils. So we're gonna run the coils we just garbage picked from the 03 Silverado. But this connector, this is the EV, I think these are the EV9 style. So I got brand new one. I paid like 15 bucks for 8 new ones of these. So the goal for the remainder of the project is to use this engine, or since I'm actually going to be running this on a Mustang, maybe I'll do it on my 302 mock-up in the basement. So I'll show you that next. But the point is to make the harness and test run it on this motor. I haven't heard this motor run. I don't even know if it runs. I only paid about $270 or $280 for it, and they pulled it out for me. All I did was show up with a truck, and they put it right in the back of the truck, and I took it home. So for 270 bucks, I think it's well worth it. I mean, even the crank sensor. This is really all we need. yeah, the crank sensor, this connector, I wish they would have left me, come on guys, that's all I get. 2 little stubs, but this is the same connector as the Explorer, so and this has the same firing order as the Explorer, so it should literally be, and it has the same 36-1 crank trigger wheel pattern, 36 teeth. Okay, and we do have a little pigtail for our coolant sensor, so that's good. That's good. We have that. We can have now. All we just need is intake air temp. We'll have to come. Well, I already have something rigged up for that, so we should be fine. We won't have EGR though. Yeah. And here's our idle air control valve. We got a little pigtail there, so we can wire that up to the harness. This should be doable. Okay, so we're back downstairs, and I've got the coil packs. Here's one on the bench. There's one over there, but they're all pretty much, they're not spotless, but they're a lot better than they were. You know, not bad for scrubbing them down with some hot soapy water and degreaser and hosing them off. I mean, just to get our tests run, I think that should be fine. So you see I have 2 different types of coil packs here. So I just kind of wanted to go over that before I went ahead and went to my next step, which is going to be wiring this up to the engine and my 302 simulator I was talking to you about. So before I get that set up, I just kind of wanted to review the 2 different types of coils. So you see this coil has 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs, and these coils have 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs. But the difference is that this is a wasted spark coil pack. So you see there's 4 wires. There's 4 wires, and what we have is we have ground and power supply, and then these are your 2 trigger wires for coil pack set A and B. So these 2 fire at the same time, and then these 2 fire at the same time. So I had originally bought 2 of these, which would be a total of 8 cylinders, and I was going to run my 8-cylinder engine in batch, which would mean I would have power ground on this coil pack, power ground on the other coil pack, and then just 4 wires, and my ECU has 4 outputs, so it would have been wiring them up to the right channels, and that would have worked fine. But my thinking was, this is a little bit, I'd have to build some custom bracketry for it, and I don't know where I'd put these coils. Plus, believe it or not, these spark plug wires they seem to be the trick. And I'm running GT40P heads with headers. Those spark plug angles are weird, and it seems as though the spark plug wires were the trickiest part of it. So that and finding a place to mount them and stuff like that. So I figured, why don't I go with the LS type coil? And you see, instead of 4 wires, there's you have 4, and then 3 additional ones. You have 7 wires for this. So instead of in this, I believe this came off of a sequential fuel injection motor on the GM truck. This was off of an 03 Silverado with a 5.3 liter. I looked up the VIN. So these came off of a 5.3, and you have red, purple, like a blue, I think it's like a bluish color, and then green. And those are your 4 coil pack trigger wires. Then you have pink, which is 12 volts, black, which goes to battery negative, and then brown, which goes to your ECU sensor ground. So so you basically have four wires per coil, and pink is the power in, the purple is the signal wire, then brown and black. Here you see you have pink, a different color wire, brown and black, pink, the different color wire, brown and black, and then pink. So the second wire down is your trigger wire. But I wanted to grab this end of the harness so I could have my wiring be much simpler, you know. Simpler. The wiring is going to be a lot easier now that I have this harness. So I just kind of wanted to, so instead of, so now we have 2 of these, right? So I have to wire you know, these three, the power ground and sensor ground, can tie to those three, power ground and sensor ground. And then remember, I'm going to have to tie, you know, I'm going to have to tie each one of these 4 wires is going to have a pair on that harness. So it basically would be pink to pink, black to black, brown to brown, and then there'd be a combination that we went over in the last video that I'll show you of purple, blue, red, and green are going to have to tie on that harness. So that way you're using one trigger to fire 2 coils because you're just tying those 2 trigger wires together. Whereas here, the wires are tied together internally. So you instead of having, you know, 2 triggers to fire 4 spark plugs, you've just got 4 triggers to fire 4 spark plugs. Except you're tying 2 of them together from the other harness. .60 RPM.